when it comes to armed security, there's a kind of an order of preference for houses of worship as far as armed security. And why don't you talk about those the three levels, what would be most ideal, and then next, and then third?
Sure. So from our perspective, a hierarchy of recommendations as far as houses of worship that want to engage armed security, and not all do, but those that do. The preference first would be for off-duty law enforcement personnel. And there's many reasons for that. One is it's often a very available resource in a lot of places. The cost is not as significant as a private security service, for example. They have superior training and expertise that an internal team just does not have from their day-to-day experience dealing with the public and with threats. And then there's also the liability shifting aspect to it, that if you have the off-duty law enforcement, if they're responding to a crime in most jurisdictions, they're responding as a law enforcement officer. And so the liability does not fall on the house of worship organization, it falls on the police department. So if that's not an option for a house of worship in their locale, the next preference from our perspective would be hiring a private security firm. So checking references, obviously, making sure that you're familiar with the policies and procedures that they have, and being very aware of the training that they provide to their hired security service, to make sure that you know that, to have the appropriate agreements or contracts in place with that service that protects the church from liability for the acts of the private security service. But it provides a layer of protection for the church from liability, and also has, again, typically superior training and expertise for those folks versus volunteers at the church serving.